Hey guys, I'm Louise and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video I'm going to be talking about things I have learnt since owning indoor plants. So the one thing I have learnt about plants is that every single one of them are completely different. Some of them like low light, some of them like highlight, some like medium, some like their soil being moist all the time, some of them like being dried out before watering them again, and so on and so forth. So just for an example, my polka dot plant loves low lights, can tolerate low lights, and prefers its soil to be dried out before watering. And my alocasia, this loves humidity, loves to bring in bright, indirect to medium lights, and loves its soil being moist but not wet, and can also tolerate it if it dries out just a tiny bit. Also just want to say something just quite quickly, that this one's bringing out a new leaf and I'm so excited about that. But anyway, yeah, so all plants have totally different needs, and you should always look up about the plant that you are wanting to get before buying it, just in case you for some reason don't have the environment or you want to create that environment. You should look up about that first before getting the plant. Talking about needs and plants and stuff, have a watering schedule. So I used to not really have a watering schedule at all until quite recently, well, I say a couple months ago, when I was like, I can't remember which day I water my plants, so I might do it this day, probably do that this day, but it kind of got out of hand, and then you just forget what day you water your plants, some days you water one plant, some days you water others, you can't remember which day it was. So I would say pick one day and that you are going to check your plants if they need watering every single week. So what I do is I do it every single Sunday now. I go around, I check all my plants if they need watering. If not, then I wait until next week. During the week I do like to check my plants quite a lot just for pests, and if for some reason they look like they need watering, then I will water them, but I always stick to Sundays. Another thing about watering is feed your plants. So I use this Houseplant Baby Bio feed. I literally mix a couple of drops in water in a standard water bottle, and then I just feed my plants with that. So I do it spring to autumn. You don't need to do it over winter because that is not when your plants are going to be actively growing, as normally it's spring to autumn which they're actively growing, and they just kind of want to survive the winter. So don't worry about feeding your plants during the winter time. Just stop at just the end of autumn, beginning of winter, and start back up at the beginning of spring. So another thing I have learnt when buying new plants, always quarantine the new plants that you have, especially with a big collection like me. I do not want to bring a plant home that has pests and then to put it on a shelf where all my other plants can also get that pest as well, because it will spread quickly, and it's horrendous when it does, because then you're having to treat every single plant. So if you have a lot of plants like me, always quarantine that plant that you have just got first, just for like at least 1 to 2 weeks, and then check it every single day, just on the top and the bottom of the leaves and in the soil, just to check that it is absolutely clear of it, and then you can decide where you want to put it, whether you want to put it with other plants or keep it on its own. Totally up to you, and just make sure you quarantine them first. So talking about quarantining your plants and pests, if you have a lot of houseplants like me, or just a couple, you are bound to get at least one pest in your lifetime. It could just be that one pest over and over and over and over again, but make sure you really do have the stuff that you need to get rid of pests, just in case for any reason that your plant does get one, and you can be able to sort it out pretty quickly. And if you do find a plant that does have pests, make sure you pull it away from the plants that are in your collection, just as far away from them as you really can, because then you have the best chance of just having that plant having pests. But also, if you have plants nearby, the one that does have pests on, make sure you check them or you treat them. So with my polka dot plants, it turns out it had mealybugs, and also my philodendron micans was literally sat right next to it, and it was just them two on the little shelf. So what I did, instead of just checking my philomicans, I literally just treated it the same time as my polka dot begonia, just so that I know that they both will not have pests by the end of it, and absolutely sorted, touch wood. So yeah, you will get at least one pest in your lifetime, and it's just annoying, but it happens to all. So another thing I want to talk about is plant ban. Do not ever go on a plant ban. So basically what I mean by that is just like when you tell yourself like you're gonna ban yourself from buying plants. Don't ever do that, because it will just make you want to buy plants even more. What you should do instead is go, I don't have enough money this month to buy a plant, so I'm gonna wait until I have enough spare change in order to do that, or any other excuse that you have. Just say, I can't do this right now, but later on I will, so I'm gonna wait for that, and then I can buy what I really want. Another thing that I have learnt having plants, it hasn't happened to any of my plants, but it has happened to a few people that I've seen ask on plant forum, on Facebook and stuff like that, in like my local area. So some plants go dormant over a season, and it's usually winter. Apparently a couple of people's alocasias have gone dormant. I haven't seen mine start to go dormant yet, but some people's will do. There's other plants that can go dormant, but I know that somebody's alocasia has gone dormant, so they can potentially do that. I haven't had any of my plants do that yet, but if they do, and all the leaves like fall off, just like make sure that like you just chop the leaves off, don't water as much, just put it in like a cool dark place and bring it out in the spring. Make sure you water every now and then, but you don't potentially need to as often anyway, as it's not actively growing, or it's just sleeping. So yeah, just like store it away. This is what I've been told. I haven't had any experience with this, so take this little bit of advice, just a little pinch of salt of that, because I have never had this in my time of owning plants, so that's all I can really say on that. So another thing I have learned is always give your plants a chance if you think they're going to die. So always, if you know or you think a plant that you have is going to die, make sure you look up on that plant. Just make sure you look up every single possibility that could happen, like, have I overwatered my plant? Have I given it too much light? Have I not given it enough light? Like all those other things, and just make sure that you change up. So with my Philodendron Cobra or Monstera Straginiana, basically I bought that as a cutting. It's just a one leaf cutting, and it was rooted. I placed it in some water just for the day because I had to go out, and then I completely forgot about it and the leaf rotted, but the stem and the roots were absolutely fine. I had to chop the leaf off. I did put it in a pot of soil, and it is doing so well now. It's actually got a new leaf. Right, so this is my Philodendron Cobra, and it was going to die. It basically was rotting away, and I managed to recover it, and it's got a new leaf, as you can see right here. And I'm really happy that it has got a new leaf, because it means it hasn't died, and I've given it a chance. I was going to throw it away, but I just thought this has got roots and it has a very good chance of surviving, so that's what I did. And also I also bought a cuttings mystery box a couple of days ago, and in my last video, in my plant update and propagation video, I did show you that I had a really long string of hearts. There's 2 of them, really well rooted, but they started to dry up. So I potted them in soil with some other cuttings that I put in, and they seem to be doing really well, and they're starting to recover, so hopefully they will revive, but they are doing really well, so I'm actually really happy about that. So yeah, always give your dying plant a chance. Just make sure that you figure out what the problem is, and then you sort it out and just give it a chance, because it's taken this about a month or 2 to even get going. So yeah, just make sure you give your dying plant a chance, and do not throw it away unless you know it has died and there's nothing else you can do with it. That's all I should say, because I have revived a couple of plants. So yeah, always give them a chance. So another thing I have learnt is to do with propagating. So I've got a lot of things propagating at the moment. I have a lot of string of hearts, and I have some Hoyas and other things propagating in various tubs and bottles. It will take almost, or at least, a month for anything to grow roots, and I mean it. It's not, some of them it can take up to like a couple of days, a couple of weeks, but at the very least, I'd say it will take at least a month for anything to propagate and grow roots, because that's what I have in my experience. I've got like loads of things are still in bottles I put in a week, a month ago, and I have like a tub here which I think I've had for at least a month or so. These have been going for like nearly a month or so, but everything here is about a month. I don't know if it's just the plant itself, but propagating takes forever, and it's just a waiting game, so you've got to be really patient if you want to propagate. But the end results are amazing, because then you have roots new plants. You can either put them in soil, or you can sell them on, whatever you want to do with them. But yeah, it does take a very long time to propagate. Some plants do take a couple weeks, but at the very least / most, just wait a month or 2 for anything to propagate or grow roots, because it's a waiting game when it comes to that, obviously, because of just the surroundings and environment, really. And the last but not least, I just want to say, when you go buying plants, do not go buying plants just for the sake of it. Don't go into a garden centre to go, I'm going to buy this one, this one, this one, this one, and you probably won't even like any of those plants at all, or not really a big fan of them. So yeah, always make sure when you buy a plant you absolutely want it and you absolutely love it and you're going to look after it, because otherwise you're kind of wasting your money. And there's been a few plants that I had at the beginning and I didn't really enjoy them anymore because of other plants that I've had. So just make sure you know what you love, and don't buy stuff for the sake of it, because you may regret it later on, and you're either stuck with that plant because you can't sell it on or whatever, and you might have just neglected it and it died. So yeah, make sure when you are buying plants, you always buy the ones you absolutely really want, so you have the best experience when owning plants. But yeah, that is it for this video. I really hope you enjoyed this little chat we've had, stuff that you probably didn't know that you have learnt today. This is all coming from my experience. Take it as you like. I am just telling you what I've learned with my experience of owning plants, propagating, all that sort of stuff. It's just my experience. I just wanted to share it with you guys. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you next video. Bye!